Okay, to me, looks like we're gonna keep hammering on this low until we break it. That's kind of just what it looks like to me. Potentially with this candle. Here we go, pushing through here. Now let's see, do we have follow through to hit this 25,000? That's kind of what I'm looking at. Yeah, looks like it's not done yet, but I don't know. Maybe we're bouncing? Nah, looks like sellers are still in control. It looks like this is one of those times where it's gonna get ugly before it bounces. Okay, really just making this trade based on this pushing through finally this level and then getting rejected right as these big sell orders came in. So I got a break even trade in now. Let's see how this goes. Look like sellers are really like pushing this area, and we tapped it once, tapped it twice, tapped it 3 times, tapped it 4 times, and eventually with this strong sell, price started moving up. And so this is an absorption play. So price being absorbed down here, bouncing off of that area. So the reverse of seeing follow through on a big buy order. It's the reverse of that. You see a big sell order and it rejects. All right, so we just hit this fair value gap right here, and it looks like we potentially rejected from it. Let's see. Could just be a pullback. I'm going to watch the middle of this range to see if this is potentially just a pullback to continue going long, or if, you know, this is another area where we have sellers coming in to push price down. Looks like we could also be in a kind of consolidation down here potentially. Maybe we don't have any big moves to expect. We kind of range. I'm gonna go ahead and close. Take some profit. It was looking like we could get stuck around here. We might be inverting this gap and maybe making another attempt down. Let's see. Finger red number 1. Where'd that come from? Let me try this. Yo, hey Mehdi, sorry man, I'm having just technical difficulties today. So the stream is disconnecting, connecting, but glad you made it back. You might play the same game as it did 5 minutes ago. What does that mean? What do you mean by that? Yeah, what game was NQ playing? Back and forth? It is looking the same. Yeah. Yeah, it's looking the same. I did get a pretty decent trade. You know, I was flipping back and forth, but, you know, price action was kind of flipping back and forth, and I knew there was a move to be had because there was strength in the market, whether it was long or short. And eventually, after it broke down here, I took a short and closed it out down here. And then I just took a long right here and closed it out here. It's looking like this is kind of scalping type of price action because we don't have a lot of directional bias right now. You know, we made this big move down, then we came up for a pullback, continuing to go short, then we had a rejection here. So we're kind of moving back and forth. But, you know, looks like there, you know, at least there's some action up here. It was really slow volume. So at least we got some price action. And basically what I was explaining as I was getting, you know, kind of whipped around is that you got to get used to taking break-even trades if you're going to take break-even trades, because it's going to happen a lot. And if you're protecting profits, it's definitely going to happen a lot. And you got to not let it affect your, you know, your psychology. because it can be kind of frustrating having a lot, you know, decent profit come back, take you out break even, and then to get back in another trade to try it again. It can be frustrating for sure. But if you're going to be somebody that you know takes break even stop losses, it's something you're going to have to get used to and not get flustered. That's the big thing. Don't get flustered if you are going to do that, and expect it to come back and potentially stop you out. And it's like, ah, damn, that sucks. But you know, I'm still staying objective about what my positions are going to be. And then in some of those situations, you flip and then you flip and then you flip, and eventually you get it. You know, here I was long, came back, hit me out, break even. I flipped, I went short. It broke, it stopped me out up here because my stop was too tight. My stop really should have been up here or above here. Stopped me out, and it was like, damn, what am I? You know, now I'm gonna go long again, and then eventually I flipped and I got it. So as long as you're not taking revenge trades and you're actually staying objective, you see an opportunity and you can try and take advantage of it instead of being frustrated and like, I'm going to trade it because it just got me. You know, that's there is a difference, you know. I have like a automated strategy here, like ATM strategy, where it will auto trail. But auto trailing is tough because it's arbitrary. You know, it's trailing based on the number of points. You could have a more complicated auto trail where you're trailing off of an EMA or something like that. That would probably be better. But what I like to do is I like to change my stop based on price or based on what's happening in the market. So it's dynamic. To me, still looks like sellers that are in control. We don't have a big buy, except for this one back here. So no follow up on the buy side. Medi, was that you over on Twitch? Medi NQ? Oh, okay, cool. Yeah, so I don't know. This little move right here in this area was the only sort of good move I saw. Obviously, this one was nice as well. But it's like immediately after this move, we're getting this consolidation. It looks like we're moving down and potentially on a trend down now. We're going to continue pushing to lower prices, but we're not having a lot of follow through, right? You know, like you see this, you know, this attempt here, pull back, attempt here, pull back, attempt here, pull back. So I don't know. It could be one of those where we're kind of breaking lows and then eventually we dump. But this is it's kind of a hard trade to get into. Ah, copy that. Okay, cool, Medi. 24955 level from yesterday. Yes, I do. The 1 hour candle moving average 50 flat. I think it might happen now. Yeah, you're thinking it might dump. Yeah, to go hit this level right here. I think that makes sense, man. Looks likely. This to me, what's going on here, like where we see these hard selling happen at these lows, but price not following through, looks like accumulation. So maybe we get a hard push, the final hard push, and then maybe we bounce. Yeah, that's what I was thinking, Mehdi. We got this third deviation here on the VWAP, right kind of sitting under this level that we're watching. 2,500 obviously is going to be a nice level. But yeah, I think a sweep of that level and then bouncing back up could potentially do it. Hey, what's up, M. Wallace? These sellers are aggressive. You see that? I'm gonna pull up the Delta candlesticks and see if we can kind of zoom in on these candles and see if we can see any clues. I mean, we have consistent aggressive selling, that's for sure. Nothing that I see is like an anomaly, like huge. So maybe we get a push down, we flush these lows, and then you know, hopefully we can see something where we get like some extreme absorption down at the, you know, one of these two levels here. I'm usually watching this level as well, or this number. You can see it. It's a delta percentage, so seeing big spikes in this too can help. That's a big spike. We stopped short of our level, so you know, I'm not interested in taking this long yet. I want to see it come down, and then see a potential rejection down here. And if we see that and some nice follow-up, you can see there's a nice big cluster of orders down here. There we go, breaking through. There we go. Let's see. This is a spike. This is a big spike. Looking like we got a little bit of follow through to come. No rejection yet. Keep watching, see if we see an anomaly. Okay. Aggressive selling down at the bottom of this candle. getting above 25,000 might be a decent entry. So we'll probably want to be watching this level in general. So just getting above here would be a nice potential entry long. I didn't see an aggressive rejection down here, but an okay one. You know, like we had 120 orders down at the bottom at the bid sell side. So let's see what this does here. Can we get above this level, or are buyers still in control? Or sorry, sellers still in control down here? Yo, what's up, M. Wallace? New to trading, appreciate you narrating while you work. Yeah, 100%, man. I am, you know, here to stream my trades and explain what my methodology is. And a lot of people that watch me, I don't have a lot of followers, but you know, the people that do have different methodologies, or some of them share similar methodologies. So basically, you know, here to you know, have a community that cares about being successful traders. That's pretty much it. So yeah, man, I'm happy to explain what I do, and if you align with that, then cool. If you have other thoughts, feel free to share them. Really, I kind of base my trades off of analyzing key levels, you know, having a narrative for the day, looking at momentum, and then analyzing order flow, which order flow is, you know, what happens behind the scenes, where volume by price comes into play, where aggressive buyers are, aggressive sellers. So if you see these bubbles on the chart, like this bubble right here, that is one single very aggressive order. So you got a big seller that stepped in right here. So that, you know, is an indication that there is a huge seller participant in the market. It doesn't mean that price will respect it, but what it does mean is that you could have a potential inflection point here. So you could have follow through from that big seller that continues to push price down. Or if price moves up above this seller might be in trouble, might get squeezed out, which could create some, you know, bullish momentum to the upside. So analyzing price, analyzing volume, and analyzing levels is kind of what I'm doing every second of every day. And then obviously, you know, and if you stick with me and you keep watching, you know, I'm happy to explain, you know, go into depth more of the different levels I have picked out. This is VWAP, and these are standard deviations off of the VWAP. This is based on the volume profile, value area low, value area high, point of control, and basically these are level between this and this is 70% of the volume transacted throughout the day. So this provides a really good indication of where people are really interested. And obviously now it looks like we're seeking lower prices. So if we're seeking lower prices, we might be looking for balance in a previously balanced area. So right now we're probably at the bottom. We're at the bottom here. We might continue to go lower and seek another balanced price range, or start bouncing. Down here, you see we have this big wide area that could provide some boundaries for where we are now. So we'll just, you know, continue to watch. You know, mainly what I want to make sure I'm doing is protecting my profits. I had a good week, and so it's really easy after you have a good week to get overconfident and trade too much and then give away your profits to the market. I do not want to do that today. So making sure I'm going in small size and controlling my risk. Here we're seeing follow through after this big seller. So sellers still in control. How do I battle greed? You said a profit point to exit. Yeah, so usually I have profit targets. Profit targets based on key levels. So some of the key levels I might use for profit targets are these, or like a high that we previously hit, or relative equal highs or relative equal lows. Also, you know, low volume nodes, low volume node, or a, you know, a lot of times they line up with a fair value gap. So you can look at it like that. Like this would be an example of a fair value gap that I might target. and start taking, scaling out of my position. Right now, so how do I battle greed? That's a really good question, because it can happen on a sort of granular scale, like on a per trade basis, and it can also happen when you're trying to hit a certain P&L for the day, or you feel like you haven't hit enough P&L for the day, and so you keep trading shitty price action until you blow your account or something. So there, a couple different things that can help you quell your greed. And one is just making sure that the setups you're taking are not based on trying to hit a specific P&L or trying to achieve anything, but you have strict guidelines for what you see in price action, and then you take trades not based on what you need for the day. So kind of get rid of that concept in your mind that you need something out of today. And if you don't like any of the price action, don't take a trade. And the one sticky part about that is that a lot of times being selective can be confused with hesitation and being scared. So don't get those two confused. Be selective about the trades you're taking. And then on a per trade basis, controlling greed, it's a tough one. Basically, you have to be very strategic about the way you're managing your trade, so that you're maximizing the gains you get, but you're not ever overshooting what you should be getting. I know that that's kind of a difficult thing to do, and that just means you have to be very technical about where you're adding to your position, where you're closing your position, where your stop losses and where your take profits are. So you might close your position earlier than your take profit, and it should be based on, some technical things that are happening within the price action, like buying, selling, reaching specific levels and getting a rejection, things like that. So the more, I think, specific you can get about your model and where you want to take profit, I think the better. So it's not, there's always going to be some discretion in trading, but what you want to do is you want to have layers of technical prerequisites for how you trade, how you manage your trade, and then you layer on the discretion where it needs to be. Like sometimes discretion comes into play with like, is this hitting a technical area? And while it's in the technical area, am I seeing what I want to see in price? This could be a potential reversal here, but essentially you want to make sure that your model is sound and your discretion is based on what you're seeing, not what you're feeling. So if you're feeling greedy, you're going to go against what you're seeing in the chart, and you're going to try and hold on to a trade, and it's going to come back and get you potentially. But if you're managing the trade correctly and it's hitting an area, so I'm watching this area right now to see if we are going to potentially continue lower or if this is actually a reversal. I don't see any follow-up super strong volume, so I'm staying out of it right now for the time being. But this is a pretty strong candle, looking like we might potentially just keep going short, so I could scalp a short here potentially. But in any case, that's kind of how you manage it. I probably have more thoughts on it. Looks like we might have a trade setup coming soon, so let me focus on this, and then I'm happy to chat about it a little bit more. Why don't you tell me specifically what kind of issues you have with greed? Okay, analyzing this price action right now. So looks like we had a rejection down here. It wasn't, it was a little bit of a surprise, that we rejected down here. We did have a little bit of heavy selling, but it wasn't enough to like raise the alarms for me. And then we just kind of bounced. So I don't know if I'm trusting this as a reversal just yet. We have some buyers coming into play right here, but price did not follow through. I'm looking at this as I don't know, maybe a reversal, but not super strong evidence just yet. Okay, where did we bounce from? That's my question now. If we look to the left, I want to see, okay, if I'm going to put this on the hourly chart, did we make a meaningful bounce at a key level? We actually took out yesterday's low. I mean, the fact that we took out yesterday's low could, pretty wide sweep on it. But I don't know. This is kind of the area I would 24,900, excuse me, would kind of be the area that I would expect us to bounce from. We didn't quite get there, so maybe we go a little bit lower, 24,900, and then we have a bounce. But right now, it's like to take a long. We're going against the trend. We just want to make sure that we have enough evidence to support that. I'm going to drop down back to the lower time frame. Take a look at what's going on. I'm going to take a stab short here. Looks to me at least like we could have a rejection up here and we could go short. Potentially down to this 24,900 level. So this is the first area of potential support that we're watching right here, this gap. We're gonna watch how's price reacting here. Well, it looks like an immediate, like if you're looking at it at first glance, it looks like it could be rejecting from this area. But what we want to watch now is as it comes up, do we see a wick forming on the top? We do. Can it sustain that is the question. So we have sellers that are pushing the price down, but we have a battle going on right now. So looks like this is going to continue going down, at least based on my discretion. Taking a look at what's actually going on behind the scenes in volume, we're staying under where, and I'll put this up on the screen so you can see it, so you guys can see it. Looks like maybe this hasn't updated. Yeah, this is behind for some reason. Give me one sec. Okay, so this right here, not looking great. Closing up above here, not great. I was looking for a wick up here, not an actual close up here. So I don't know, I might be on the wrong side here. This might have dipped so that we can continue going longer. Kind of what it's looking like now. is that we essentially came up here, we were having trouble breaking this area, and then we took a dip, gained some momentum, and then are pushing up. So let's see. I'm willing to hold here to see what happens up here if we get rejection again. If we get rejection again, this could come back down for lower prices. So right now, I'm essentially, instead of this immediately moving in my favor, looks like we have a little bit more shaking out to do. Unfortunately, my preference is to be in moves that happen quickly. A lot of times, you will see, like, when you have an initiation move like this initiated the, at least my thought to go short. A lot of times after you get a strong move like that, you get a pullback, kind of like a liquidity grab. Essentially what it is like a move down, a fake out, and then the real move happens. So a lot of times that can happen as well. Looks like that might be the case here. Again, we're watching this area. Do we get follow through here? Or does it start bouncing? Like pretend like this is a potential trampoline. Is this going to bust through the trampoline, or is it going to continue bouncing off of it? Looking like it's got enough sort of selling to continue pushing through. This time, maybe not. Look, there was a bounce. So when you start seeing this kind of stuff, it might, encourage you to go break even. So for me, I'm break even on this. If this comes up one more time, I'm not really interested in taking this trade again or holding for this trade. If this pushes through, phenomenal. If it comes back up to my price, I'll get out. You kind of have to have high standards for your trade. At least I do. If I don't have high standards for my trade, it causes a lot of frustration. All right, so pushing through this gap, it looks like we're going to sustain that push through and continue going short. Now the question is, where are we going? So we already looked at the higher time frame, and I decided 24,900 would be a potential good target for us to go hit. Basically what that is a fair value gap similar to this, but on the higher time frame, on the hourly. So it's a very important level that we might go tap into before eventually, having a full-on reversal. So we've got all this movement down, movement down, movement down. You're always trying to figure out, where's it going to stop? Where's this short move going to stop? Because that's going to be where you want to take profit, and it could also be a potential setup to go long. This 24,900 I think is ripe to go hit. Doesn't mean it's going to hit it, but if we are going short and we're going to break through this level, this low that we created, I would see this as a potential take profit. Now, could it go lower? Of course it can. But what you're looking to do is maximize the the opportunity that you have, the trade that you have, maximize the chances you have at closing out and a good, decent profit while squeezing out a good portion of the move. And obviously another thing you can do is just pull off a little bit of profit here, or pull off a little bit of profit here, and then let it run. And back to your question, M. Wallace, about greed. That's another way you can battle greed, is by making sure you're pulling profit, so you don't feel the need to hold on forever. All right, so this looks very likely that we're going to hit. We also have this third deviation of the VWAP that I'm watching as a potential bounce area. But if we're going to come back up here and make the attempt to go down, I'm thinking, okay, we got some strong buying happening there. That might be a sign for me to take some profit, right? So I just pulled off 2. I've got 1 running, and I'll let that run. But if this starts bouncing up, let's say beyond this candlestick here, because this strong buyer showed up, this is making me a little on edge about continuing to hold this. Now we have another buyer here, so we got buyers stepping in. I'm probably just going to close this, and if it continues going down, no big deal, you know. There we go, 185 on that trade. If it continues going down, it's okay, but what I'm looking for is I'm looking for evidence to go for my trade or against my trade, and if it starts going against my trade, then I want to, you know, I want to protect my profits. Okay, cool. And yeah, Max, sorry about the YouTube disconnection. I mean, I'm just having technical difficulties today, and then trying to reconnect. Like whenever I'm on my stream platform, I usually just hit go online and it connects to all of them, but YouTube is different. I have to actually go to YouTube and hit go live on YouTube first. So in any case, sorry, you know, got disconnected there. But right now, okay, so we're seeing a battle happen here, you know. I took my trade off because I was starting to see potential drama, and you know, today's Friday. I'm not about that drama. But right now, what we're looking for, like what we started seeing here, is that we got some aggressive buyers getting involved. So what we were anticipating is we go down to 24,900, and that could still happen. It might not happen though, and if it doesn't happen, you know, and it starts bouncing from here, these are some of the early signs, you know, that you look for in a bounce. Buyers are stepping in. This seller got rejected. So right now, you know, could be a buy opportunity, especially since we're above here. So like maybe I'll reduce, I got my size reduced to 1 because I got good profits. I'm gonna reduce my size, protect my profits, and this could be, you know, a good bounce. I'm gonna put it under these orders, and let's see if sellers still have control. Because what happened up here is we came up here, and sellers still had control up here, even though it looked like we were bouncing. And right now, this could be a pullback, or this could be, you know, an indication that sellers are still in control and they're gonna push this price down. So let's see. That's why I took 1 contract here, just not a high level of certainty, and I want to make sure I'm protecting the profits that I've earned today on this trade, especially considering we're going against the trend to bounce, right? So taking a bounce trade against the trend, I want to make sure that I'm not like over leveraged, oversizing, being irresponsible, and then you know, getting stopped out and getting frustrated and then trying to take it again, and so on and so forth. And that's how it goes. And as long as you're taking good objective trades, it's okay to try the same trade multiple times as long as it's still valid. But if you start getting frustrated, probably good to walk away. Max, yeah, this was a huge short, man. That was a big boy. So again, it's like everything in context. We had this huge short. Now we want to see some major evidence. This I would consider medium-sized evidence that we're going to bounce. We did hit a, you know, a key level, yesterday's low, which was like up here somewhere or something, and we tapped that low, and now we're seeing potential reversal potential, but you know, I want to see more. You know. We got this gap, and that's, I took this trade over here. This looked like it was potentially reversing. You know, we created this expansion candle. We were having a hard time dipping, and then eventually we got up here, and then immediately just boom, started coming down. Sellers in control. What we have here that we didn't have here is strong orders coming in right at the bottom. These were somewhat strong, but these are very strong right here. So not only do we have like buyers down here, but we have a huge seller order. They got rejected. So this reversal looks better than this reversal. Now the next key level I'm looking at is 25,000. 25,000 is going to be a potential resistance level. And if we pop above this, I'm probably looking to take profit up here. At this, this is the value area low for the day. And again, just a reminder, the value area low for the day is, this area is where 70% of all volume has transacted. So this area right here, this edge, is a level that a lot of professional traders are looking at. because this is the area where fair value is transacted from. And fair value, and essentially what it is like they're trading books and other books on auction market theory, and this area is highly regarded because this is what's considered fair value for, you know, whatever it is you're trading, where price is going to gain a lot of interest. That's why there's a lot of volume in here. It's kind of like, if you think about this, if you're selling a car, and price in the car situation is different, because when it goes low, you'll probably have a lot of interest, except for the fact that people might be considering it's losing value now, right? But if you have a car up here, and the normal price is $50K that you want to sell it for, you know, you'll have a lot of people interested down here. As it goes lower, they might perceive it to be losing value, so maybe less value, and it depends on what the overall perceived value is. But here, you know, people will think maybe they're getting a steal down here at $45,000, and at $55,000, they might be thinking, oh, this is a classic. This is going to gain value over time. So I'm interested in buying here. And if it blasts out up to here, maybe this is a Michael Jordan rookie card, you know, that's like, it was $1 to buy, but eventually moves up to 600K, you know, it's worth 600K. So that's kind of the, like a elementary sort of comparison of what this area kind of represents. But it represents an area where people start really getting interested. And this area was different yesterday for NQ. It was like down here. So you have these different areas where price will gravitate to, you know, based on liquidity and based on fair market value. And so when price falls out of balance, you can see it can have aggressive moves to go seek balance elsewhere. And if it doesn't find balance down there, it'll come back up to this area. So that's why I like, since we're out of this area and we started seeing this buying happen, that's why I like targeting this. It doesn't mean we're gonna hit that, but for an ideal target for long, this is a good area target. Looking right now, like we have a little bit of weakness coming back up here, and so we might not get this move that we want. Still watching this level as well to see how, if we can get up there, and if we get up there, how do we react? Do we punch through it, or do we have this kind of meandering price action? Just so you guys know, this will probably be my last trade of the day. I got a flight here in a few hours. Still got to pack my bags. So actually, I bet Lacey's packing my bags right now. She's the best. But yeah, probably got to get ready for that trip. This will probably be my last trade. And yeah. Yeah, thanks, man. It's going to be, I'm going to be helping her parents and her family set up their like technology. They just moved to a new place, and the first time I went and visited them, I tried to use their internet. I was like, "What's going on?" Couldn't load a web page, and they were getting like less than a megabit per second on their internet. And I was like, "Oh my gosh, what are you guys doing?" And so I want to make sure they set it up right this time and get all their TVs set up and you know, Netflix and stuff like that, whatever. Now, I don't know if you guys have seen, Netflix is tanking, probably because Elon Musk is encouraging people to delete their subscription from Netflix. I don't know if you guys are familiar with what's going on, but basically because Netflix puts on a lot of shows that are encouraging like trans and gay stuff, and I mean, I see it all the time. I'm like, I don't want to see that. But anyway, so they're seeing, Netflix is seeing a huge dump in their stock price. I don't know if it recovered today, but I think a lot of people are getting rid of their subscriptions. So if I had multiple contracts, I would, you know, take one off right here at this big sell order, because if this is if this is really the point where, you know, a big seller stepped in, they might be willing to defend it, and this might, you know, all of this progress we just made might stop on a dime and come back down. Kind of similar to this, right? But we didn't have any indication that this was going to happen. But here we do. You know, we got an indication that this could be an area that could reject. Okay, so even though this is a little buy right here, I like seeing this, especially in an expansion candle, because a lot of times what you'll see is expansion candles will have multiple of these buy orders kind of on the way up. So let's see if we start seeing drama up here. So right now, I definitely am going to move my stop, and I'm going to be aggressive on how I move it. I'm going to move it way up here. We had this small buy order come in, and if we start sinking below this buy order, I want to basically be out. So I'll actually be a little more aggressive, especially coming up on this area, right? So we're anticipating this 25,000 might be an area that rejects, and if it does, it could reject hard, and it could do exactly what it did here, continue going down. And if it does that, I'm protecting my profits. I'm not going to risk it for the biscuit. You know, the only reason I would hold it down here is if I'm anticipating that this is going to go way up here, and it could, but we don't. We've got evidence that we might have a challenge getting there. And if that's the case, especially considering this is the last trade of my day, it's Friday, I want to hold on to my profits. I want to hold on to my, you know, my good mood for the day. So I don't want, if this starts messing around, doing this kind of crap, I'm just like, nah, it's not for me. This trade is not for me. So right now, what I'm thinking is I'll just continue to trail this stop based on order flow. You know, remember what I said when I was like, I really like seeing these, even though these are small bubbles, I like seeing these small bubbles appear on these expansion candles. Now, right now, I'm seeing that this is an area, you know, right here that could be problematic. We got a high right here. This would be, you know, on a higher time frame, this would be a leg down where like this area, and this area I'm paying attention to. Well, how does price react at these areas? We are above this big sell order, so I want to see that respected. I want to see this bubble respected, so I'll go ahead and move my stop up even higher. All right, I was stopped out. And if this starts reversing down, I don't know, you know, you could potentially take advantage of it, but I think we got mixed signals right now. A little bit. So anyway, that was my last trade, guys. Yeah, I'll see you guys next week. Like I said, I'm going to bring my laptop. I don't know if I'm going to be live streaming, but I will keep you guys updated on Discord. So I might trade lightly on Monday and Tuesday, but I might just wait till I get back in town on Wednesday. But I'll be chatting with you guys on Discord. Stay safe out there today, and I will chat with you guys next week. Enjoy your weekend. Hopefully you guys made some profit today. Appreciate you guys tuning in. Take care.